There's a birdie watching me film this. Hi, birdie. Hey guys, it's Kai, and we're gonna do a little magic today. I actually just filmed a really awkward and fumbly video for my main channel, so we're just gonna cleanse a little bit of that energy out of here so that I can properly film a decent video. So things have been insane. I actually filmed a video for this channel. I filmed the entire video, had everything. I filmed a reading, everything else. I'm probably gonna keep that part in, but all of the footage was so blurry, I couldn't use it at all. I know it's really low key and just kind of here, but like, it was fun. I felt so bad. It wasn't like just slightly out of focus, like enough that like you wouldn't notice if you were on mobile or something. It was literally the candles in the back were perfectly in focus and I was not. So yeah, I wanted to refilm it. I would have refilmed something sooner, but we have actually been living without power. We will be without power for the month of December. We are actually only a few days in and I'm already kind of really anxious about it and like, I don't know how long I can live like this. So there might be a few days where you'll see me filming from a motel or something. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But for now, I'm using the sun, which I thought was kind of fitting for this. Plus, I did just film a video for my main channel that was, like I said, very rambly, very disorganized, just not what I wanted to talk about at all. And I did want to get on here and just redo the tarot video because I love my deck and I haven't gotten a chance to play with them much because we've been spending all of our time at Starbucks so that we can have Wi-Fi and power and everything else. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So the first thing about tarot is that a lot of people believe that you can't buy your own first deck. I do like understand why. I'm not sure that I agree with it, but I understand why. And I accidentally happened to not buy my own first deck, which is such a weird thing. So I actually have a friend, Remy, who also practices witchcraft. She also does tarot, and she had this really pretty deck that she had had for a while, but she had just gotten her new deck. She said, this is the one that I connect with. I didn't connect with the first one. It's beautiful, but there's no real reason, because when you have a tarot deck, it's good to practice with one that you don't necessarily have a connection to, but if you're gonna actually like do readings and be serious about it, you need to have a personal connection to your deck. And that's kind of hard to explain until you felt it, because like, it's just a deck of cards, what do you mean? But I digress. So yeah, so she had told me all of that and she's like, so this deck that I had is really pretty, but I can't use it because I have my own deck now and I don't have a connection with it. So do you want to use it and practice? Because this was back whenever I was still new to the craft. And by new, I mean I had grown up practicing some things, but I wasn't calling myself a witch until pretty soon, like before this. And I had also never messed with tarot before. I was really interested in it. I actually back then still thought it was pronounced tarot, not tarot. Oh, baby witch Kai. Yeah, anyway, so she said that I could have the deck if I wanted to practice on, and so I was like, yes, that's awesome, because tarot decks can be expensive, and I had looked for some and I only found really expensive ones, and I didn't have any spare money at that point. So I took that deck. So that deck was called the Fenestra Tarot. I still have it because after I got my new deck, I passed this one on to Connor. It's a very, very pretty deck. Like, the outside of the cards are like this. It's kind of like a really pretty Roman, like time kind of thing. It's weird holding these again after so long. But yeah, it's like a very like regal, you know, fancy like marble and everything else deck. It's beautiful, beautiful. And so I practiced with these for a while, but I also felt no personal connection to this deck. And I feel like most of the time with your first deck, you're not going to feel a connection because again, you're not necessarily looking for that. And also it's a practice deck, you know, you don't necessarily want to be inexperienced, I guess, with your first deck. It doesn't really matter that much, I don't think. But of course, if you are lucky enough to have a connection to your first deck, I do think that that's awesome. But there's nothing wrong with not being connected to your first deck because once again, as beautiful as it may be, like this one, it is a practice deck. And then you can pass it on to someone later. So yeah, I was practicing with those and then tax season rolled around and I had a little bit of extra money after paying off a bunch of stuff. And there was one day that Connor and I and then a few of Connor's friends from their school, we all went to the mall.
and we were walking around, we were having a good time. I was actually working at Barnes & Noble at the time, and instead of there being a Barnes & Noble in that mall, there was a Books A Million. I was already kind of making jokes about like, oh, like, I'm a traitor, I'm going into Books A Million, but the first thing that I always do anytime I go into a Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, any kind of bookstore like that, is immediately look for the witchy section. Which I guess I should say the New Age section. I just call it the witchy section because, let's be real, that's what it is. So anyway, we were sitting in that Books A Million and I was looking through all the witchy books, and then I came across the Revelations Tarot. Now it was in a big box, like a little bit bigger than this book, because this book was inside of it, and so it was like a big box this big. I couldn't open it, I couldn't look through the cards. The only one that was there was the sun, which I don't know if you can see it right here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So this is the sun card. This is what I saw on the cover. It's just, as you can see, the sun looks like a bright dandelion. There are a bunch of dandelions and little angels. And this does not at all look like the rest of the deck. So it's interesting that this is the one that was on the front, but this is the only one I saw on that box. And I remember looking at it, and maybe the moon was on there too, but anyway. I remember looking at the box with this card on the front of it, and just for some reason, feeling so drawn to this. Like, I had this feeling in my gut, like if I did not walk away from this store today with this deck of cards, I didn't mean to show them right now, but here we are. If I did not leave this store with this deck of cards, I was gonna feel empty and lost and sad. And I can't fully describe that feeling because it was so strong and just weird, I guess. But it was such a thing. Like, I tried to put it back, like, no, like, this is $30-something. Like, I have the money, but I still shouldn't be spending anything. Like, I want to save my money, blah, blah, blah. And I tried to put it away, and I honestly could not put it back on the shelf. Like, I put it on there, and then I just kind of looked at it, and I was like, it's wrong. Like, this feels wrong. I cannot put this back on the shelf. So I picked it up, and I walked around the store with it, and finally I said, you know what? Fine. I will buy this deck of cards. Once again, this is the only card that I saw. This is the style I thought it was getting. I had no idea why I had such a connection to this deck of cards. Now, before I go any further, just a quick thing about me. I am a Capricorn Aquarius cusp baby, and so I'm technically supposed to be earth and air element, but my main element is actually water, which I feel like is so funny that like neither of my signs, whatever, anyway. But I'm such a water girl. That is not sounding like what I mean. But seriously, I mean, I remember being young, standing in the ocean and being able to control the waves around me as a small kid, not even knowing exactly what that meant yet. Like, I have such a strong connection to water. Like, I feel like a mermaid at heart. I legitimately believe in mermaids, and I feel like I may have been one in a past life. I know this is where you're about to click off because I sound like a crazy person, but that's not the point. I have such a strong connection to mermaids, and not just in the way that most girls are like, oh my god, like mermaids, like, oh, trendy, like, Little Mermaid era, blah, blah. I feel like I belong in the ocean. That's why I dye my hair green. Of course, you can't tell because it's really faded and not great right now. We don't have power, so I can't dye my hair and rinse it out, but anyway, so that's just a thing about me. And so I got home and I was so excited to look through this deck of cards. So the first thing I did, I got it, I pet my cat, I put my stuff down, and immediately pulled out this deck. Of course, it was the Revelations Tarot. This book was inside the box. I no longer have the box. And so I pulled out the book, I set it down, and then I pulled out the cards. And the first thing that you'll notice is that they have like an oceany background. It's like blue and swirly, like it looks like water. And when I saw these, I was like, that's really interesting, but it doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't a water-based deck. Like, that sun, like, those were like sunflowers, which sunflowers are also my favorite flower, by the way, so maybe that's part of why, but I was like, no, like, this is, you know, there were sunflowers and angels. Why would there be, you know, like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I flipped over my first card. I don't know which one my first card actually was. I have no idea, but this one kind of shows it pretty well. This is the Six of Cups. This is an underwater scene with actual mermen and little seahorses. Like, I was in complete awe. Somehow I accidentally found a deck that was water-based with mermaids. I looked through the rest of the deck, and I mean, the rest of it continued this theme. There are purples and blues and greens and mermaids and fishes and the ocean, and just, it's beautiful. suddenly my connection to this deck made so much sense. And it's so interesting because it's not like I looked at the box and said, hey, this is mermaid themed, I want this deck. I literally just picked up the box and saw sunflowers and the sun and angels. I don't even believe in angels, but I saw angels and was like, I have to get this box of cards, and I don't know why, but I have to get this deck. And when I did, it was mermaid themed. And just anyway, something else, whenever I was working with the Venetia Tarot, I was never very good at figuring out the meanings of the cards. I was upset because I couldn't memorize all of them, so I always referred to the little booklet that came with that one. Anyway, my battery's dying. I'm just gonna go ahead and input my little reading right now. So the first thing you want to make sure you do is clean off your space. Now this is one of my sort of temporary altars that I've been using, and I thought it would kind of work for doing a tarot thing, and my cards already sit here anyway, so why not? So So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually light a little bit of incense just to kind of, you know, clear the air and set the mood. Set this off to the side. So then just go ahead and start off with your tarot deck, obviously, and I'm going to start off by picturing a question that I want to be answered and maybe thinking about how I'm going to lay out the spread. Now, I don't really use specific spreads normally, I just kind of go with it, so I'll probably just kind of say it as I lay it out. Now that you've got your question, make sure that you shuffle your cards really well, the whole time concentrating on what you want to know. Anytime there's a card that falls upright like that, I just kind of stick it back in because I don't really like knowing which card is where. And be sure to allow the cards to flip over as much as they want, because this is tarot and not oracle, and so we read upside down cards, or at least I do. The reading that I'm planning on doing today is about my YouTube channels and my future with them, because I figured it was just kind of fitting to do that in a video for one of my YouTube channels. So I'm going to put a card here to represent me, and then on either side I'm going to put one for the Coffee Cat channel, one for the Rosemary and Sage. And then I'm going to do where we are now as far as channels go, what I should look forward to, and things to avoid, and general advice. This card represents me right now, and then the Coffee Cat channel and the Rosemary and Sage channel, where we are now, things to look forward to, things to avoid, and general advice. So normally I'll just kind of channel through the cards, but today I actually included the book that comes with these cards, so I'm going to give you the actual meanings of each card that I find. So for me right now, it is the Seven of Swords. So as you can see, the person is holding on to 4 different swords and looks kind of like a thief running away. The Seven of Swords is he chuckles at his victim's stupidity as he walks away with yet another bundle of stolen goods. Here caution is advised because those around you will take advantage of you. Theft of your ideas or concepts could occur if you do not watch carefully. Naivety and stupidity will be your own downfall, and you will only have yourself to blame. Those around you will lie, steal, and cheat for their own gains. Be wary of shadowy characters in your environment, whether you are at home or in your workplace. In relationships, cloak and dagger actions will also be telltale signs of cheating and unfaithfulness. Keep those around you who are of questionable origin at arm's length. Alright, and so then for the Coffee Cat channel, we have the Hermit upside down. Alright, so here's the page for the Hermit, and we're going to look at the reversed side. He runs away from everything, he turns away from life, he must retreat for his own good.
Here the card reflects the need to run away from situations and to hide from facing problems. Here, escape is what the hermit seeks from the troubles on his shoulders. In an individual, this card represents a person who is unable to face or deal with his or her demons. This person fills his or her life full of distractions and excuses, which only makes his or her burden more difficult to carry as time passes. This person does not listen to any advice, blinded by fear and comforted by seclusion. This person may even be afraid of being around others and chooses to shun society. In a situation, this card advises acknowledging the issues at hand and facing the facts that need to be dealt with. It's time to stop running away, as well as to place the distractions in your life aside.
Which is very fitting because lately it has been difficult for me to film videos for that channel because I have just not been feeling super upbeat.
So then for the Rosemary and Sage channel, we have the Seven of Wands. He fights all till the end. He is resilient and determined. The fighting spirit is alive within you. Draw on this and keep facing your demons. This card advises to keep soldiering on to the very end. This card tells you that no task is too hard to manage and no situation is too daunting to handle. Challenging situations will arise, but resilience will overcome any hurdles. Draw from your personal strengths and resources around you.
Which once again is fitting because it's been hard for me to put up any videos, especially on this channel, so here we are.
The present situation, we have the Chariot reversed. Okay, so here's the Chariot. And then, well, the camera cut out while I was reading part of that, so I'm not sure where exactly it ended, but essentially it's warning me to kind of relinquish control a little bit, which is always good advice. So then, things to look forward to, we have the reversed Ace of Swords. Stress and tension plague life as the point of the sword bears down. The swiftness of the sword has left you, and it is stuck in the ground. There will be delays holding you back, misunderstandings that add to confusion, and fear that will fuel paranoia and illogical thought. Stress and tension from overstimulation of the mind may also come into play. Around you, others may feel the need to mess with your mind for their own gain. External forces seem to be holding back progress, and lies and deceit can often dog your path to success. In relationships, you may find yourself or your partner spending too much time thinking and not acting. Procrastination and distractions of the mind will add up to neglect and a misunderstanding of everything involved. So that's looking to be pretty similar to the me in the current situation card. Apparently, there's some people I've got to be on the lookout for. Alright, things to avoid, we have the Six of Wands. He rides into a crowd that celebrates his victory. Similar to the Chariot, whoa. Okay, similar to the Chariot, we've already gotten the Chariot reversed, and now we have the Six of Wands, which refers to the Chariot.
I love when this happens.
Okay, similar to the Chariot, this card exemplifies the feeling of success and victory that has been won or achieved through strife. Effort has been exerted to reach this stage, and your peers now rejoice and celebrate your triumph. It is a time for reflection and festivity as you are ready to reap the rewards. In situations, this card heralds possibilities for promotion, good news, and triumphs over adversity. In relationships, the sailing will be smooth as both parties have overcome their issues and have found the time to focus on their love and achievements.
Now, my first thought was, I don't really understand why this is in the things to look out for column, because why would I be looking out for success? But then I kind of realized that it references the Chariot, which in my situation is reversed.
And also the Ace of Swords reversed brought me back to this card. And even the color schemes and everything are similar to this one.
So I think it's really just trying to warn me about the people who are going to be taking advantage of the situation when I am here.
So then the last card is general advice, and we have the Three of Swords.
This card never looks positive to me. I know it's not reversed right now, but just this is always negative and this always looks negative. This card scares me.
He lies there and does his crying in the rain. He wallows in the sorrow of his heartache.
Okay, so yeah, there's a reason to be sad for that.
The heart has been broken and so has your mind. The emotions associated with the broken heart overrun any logical thought process, leaving you a debilitated mess of sorrow and woe. Unrequited love, love triangles, and doomed relationships will be littered all around you. Failed trust and broken promises may also lead you down this path of despair. In relationships, this card often foretells the end, either by separation or by sudden departure. Arguments, harsh words, or general conflicts will leave a bitter taste at the end. Careers or partnerships may also suffer the same treatment. In workplaces, miscommunication and misunderstanding will be counterproductive and thus cause more grief than required.
So once again, I think it's just talking about everything it's warning me about and that it can all lead to this if I'm not careful. Also, I never really thought that doing a tarot reading for myself on camera would be so weird because I feel like I'm being like weirdly personal with this.
but here we are. So yeah, once you're done, just make sure that you collect the cards back up, and I always reshuffle them into the deck. I know that I shuffle my cards every single time I do a reading anyway, but it's just, I feel like it's just good practice to shuffle them back in so that, I don't know, it just kind of clears the last reading.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my deck there. Currently also sitting on a little reading that another witch did for me a while back with wax, which I really love. She said I'm surrounded by a bunch of little animal spirits, so that's cool. Okay, all of my batteries are dead, so I'm gonna make this fast. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Please subscribe to this channel. Go subscribe to my main channel, Copycat, which is also linked in the description box down below. Let me know what decks you guys have. Send me pictures, everything else. I would love that so much. And let me know what you want to see next time I make a video. I can't give you a specific like date because I don't know. What's my outro? Oh no. Oh no. I don't remember. Stay safe, be magical. I don't know. I love you. Until next time. Bye.